Hey guys, welcome back. Happy October. I wanted to make like a few kind of filler pages for my October album. My album is definitely not going to be a daily album. I definitely don't do not enough Halloweeny stuff to do a daily album. So much like my December album, my October album is just going to be filled with fun things that I do in October. And so to make things a little bit easier for myself and to have a little bit of fun, in all honesty, I wanted to spend today making a few little filler pages to put into my album. So I'm going to show you 5 different ways that I did that. Now this first page is really easy. I grabbed a giant tag. I got this one from the Citrus Twist shop. It's already 4 inches wide, so I just trimmed it down to just under 5 inches long. And then I'm using a stencil and some of the Heidi Swap texture paste to just create a little bit of texture, and it's going to be shiny, of course, on my tag. I have ordered a few Halloweeny things, bits and pieces from scrapbook.com. They haven't arrived. They're lost in the international mail somewhere, so I'm just working with what I have. So I had pulled out 3 stencils that could have worked. I did have a kind of skeleton-y one, but I also had just a star one. This one's from Paige Evans, and there was also a Rosie Studio wood grain one in there that I thought could look a little bit creepy as well. In the end though, I went for the stars. I used a palette knife just to smear that texture paste over the tag, and then I set that aside to dry. Now as far as the foil goes, I have this really fun kind of purpley motley looking one from a Deco Foil, and I'm going to use that because I just want to add a little bit of color as well as shine. You feel free to pull out your Mink tool or your laminator, whatever you've got. When I'm doing a single little project like this, I just use this mini iron. This is like a quilting mini iron that I've had for many years. If you've got one of those Cricut mini irons, I'm sure they would work too. I do just put it into one of the Mink transfer sleeves just to protect my desk and the actual project itself, but you can see it works perfectly. For my next little page, I'm going to use this piece of pearlescent vellum from Lawn Fawn. It's got a really green kind of iridescent shine to it, which makes it perfect for Halloween. And I want it to be like the exact size of the page protector, so I'm literally just using my little 4x4 page protector as a template to get the right size and also to get the position for punching the holes in it. Now to add a little bit of texture to this, I took it over to my sewing machine and I've swapped out my normal white thread for some black, and I've just stitched all around the edge of the vellum, and I've done that twice and kind of like messy kind of squares around the outside. I love the texture on this. It looks awesome. Now these are the Hey Pumpkin digitals. Actually, I don't have many of the original embellishments left, so I'm going to just use a lot of digitals in this album. I grabbed it from the AC Digital store. I will leave the link down below, and I just cut that out with my Silhouette Studio software. If you make sure you upgrade your Silhouette software to version 4.4, you don't need to trace or do anything. You just pull the PNG files onto your Silhouette Studio software, and it automatically creates a cut file around the outside, making these super easy to cut out. Now, in the end, I decided to go for that Boo to You little banner, and I'm going to stitch that on, but I wanted to add one of these cobwebby images, and I actually printed these on clear sticker paper for this very purpose. I was going to stick it on the front. You saw me stick one on the front, but I love it stuck on the back because it kind of has that transparent look to it. And then I stitched my Boo to You banner over the top, and you get this really nice like double layered effect to it. And so this is going to be one of the easiest filler pages by far. I've opened a new document in my Silhouette Studio. I am grabbing the web half image PNG. This is from the Kelly Stamps Booyah digital stamp set. I'm going to drag that onto my Silhouette Studio. And then I just want to resize it. So at the moment it's only about 1.5 inches square. So I want it to be 4 inches tall. I just want to lock this so that it stays in proportion. I want it to be 4 inches tall. It's going to be 4 inches wide. And that's it. That's all I'm going to do. And I'm just going to go ahead and cut that from black cardstock. So I've cut that out and I'm going to need a way to attach that to my album. Given that there are holes in there, it probably would fit on the rings anyway, but what I'm going to use is this little attacher die, and I'm just using one of these pattern papers from my die cuts with a view paper pad, which interestingly enough is called Booyah as well. I got this die a very long time ago, I think from Studio Calico, but you definitely do not need a die. This just makes it like that tiny bit fancier, but I'm going to show you here. If you just cut yourself a strip of pattern paper, fold it in half, and then trim it to whatever width you want and punch a hole in it, you've got your own attacher anyway. So you definitely do not need the die. It just makes it a little bit fancier and I guess a little bit more accurate as to where the holes go, but you could very easily create your own without a die. Now again, I'm using the page protector just to line up the holes to make sure everything's going to be in the right place. Nothing worse than attaching all of these things and then realizing the holes are in the wrong place for the actual binder. So I'm just adding those with a little bit of adhesive, and then to permanently attach them, I did use my sewing machine again just to stitch those down. Would it even be an album of mine if there wasn't a sequin page in here somewhere along the line? My beautiful friend Alice sent me this gorgeous Halloween mix, so I used that. All I did was fill up one of the existing page protectors and then I stitched it shut with my sewing machine. You could always use a fuse tool if you wanted to. I also added a couple of diagonal lines in there. It makes it a little bit fun, but it also stops all of those sequins from just dropping down to the bottom of the page protector. So it helps to stay a little bit flatter and a little bit more evenly distributed. Then once again, I grabbed some of those clear stickers, just a few of those little stars, and I also added a boo on there for a little bit of fun. And for my last page, I'm going to use these paint chips. I grabbed them from the hardware store. I was getting paint chips for another project entirely, but these ones were called Orange Slice and Scroll White, and I thought that couldn't be more appropriate for my October album, so I picked those up. I've just adhered them back to back with a little bit of adhesive and punched my holes using my page protector as a template again. And then I'm going to use this little fabric scrap. It came in some Happy Mail, so I bunched that up along one edge and stitched it down. And then I did stitch all the way around the outside edge of both of those cards as well, so that adheres them together completely. And then just trimmed off the excess fabric there. It's really kind of dusty purple, sort of perfect for this album as well. Now I'm going to use again my little digital printables here and just create a little cluster. I'm going to do that on both sides of the card, so this is a really easy one. I can literally just pop it in the album with a photo next to it and that would be a whole page done. It's the beauty with having these filler pages ready to go. It does make putting an album together a little bit easier. So I'm just clustering everything together. I loved that little owl. Got a wee poison bottle there. I know I'm covering up most of the trick or treat, but we all know what it says. Now I wanted to add a little bit of sparkle to this, of course, so I went and grabbed out just a few of the things. Now like I said, all of these things come from my stash because nothing new has actually arrived here yet, so these all came from various places, Happy Mail swaps, all sorts of gorgeous friends sent these things to me last year and I've kept them in preparation for this year. Luckily I did that. And so I'm adding a few little gems. I'm going to add some to both sides of this, this little card here. On this side I'm adding a frame and tucking in one of those spooky houses and just that little number card in there to layer it. Everything's layered, but it is still really flat because it is digital. It's really all I've got on here with any dimension is that kind of ruffle and some of those gems. So everything is really flat. I'm only working in that little 4x4 album. I do want to have as many pages in here as possible, so I'm not going too crazy with dimension. Although these little pumpkin gemstones, they're super dimensional and gorgeous, so I have no issue adding them. I added the little pumpkin and I'm going to add a few of those same little, just the round crystal gemmies that I added on the other page to tie those two together. These ones from Rosie Studios match that fabric perfectly, so it couldn't have been better. And that's it, that's that last card. So these are all of my little filler pages. I'm going to attempt to film an actual process video for you with my album, but in the meantime, if you've got any questions, let me know down below, and I'll see you again really soon. Bye guys.